Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Volvo XC60, we're going to be showing you how to install the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver. Before we get into that though, we'll just take a minute, check out this hitch and make sure it's going to be the right setup for you. So believe it or not, we actually get quite a few of these Volvos in the shop here at eTrailer, and it seems like people do a lot of different things with them, from using accessories to pulling trailers around, or even a little bit of both. So having a hitch back here is going to allow you to get those types of tasks done. I do want to address one of the main questions that we get asked in regards to putting a trailer hitch on the XC60, and that is, will the hands-free liftgate assist feature still function? And the answer is yes. As long as you kick your foot to either side of the receiver tube opening, the hatch will open up like it should. There are quite a few hitches available for the XC60, and when it comes to this one, I feel like this is a good general purpose all-around trailer hitch. You know, it's going to look good, being that it's completely hidden for the most part. You'll just see the receiver tube opening. Everything's easy to get to and things like that. There are some other hitches where the receiver tube is detachable, meaning when you're not using it, this whole part can drop down and you won't see a hitch back here at all. So if appearance is really important to you, those are some definitely worth looking into. But I really feel like it's going to depend too on how you plan on using your hitch. If you're someone who's always going to be using an accessory or pulling your trailer or doing those types of things, I could see myself having one of the detachable tubes. If I'm using it all the time, I'll probably just leave it in there. So it might kind of defeat the purpose, but that's entirely up to you and how you plan on actually using your trailer hitch. The hitch is going to have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, really common size, so a ton of different things will work with it. It is going to use the standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, one doesn't come with the hitch. If you need one, not really a big deal. You can grab it here at eTrailer, or a lot of times too, if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one, so something to look out for there. The safety chain openings are a little bit different than what a lot of people are used to seeing. They actually point straight down, which I think looks a little bit better, from the back of the vehicle. And because of that too, you're gonna have a ton of room and space to use just about any size hook that your trailer might have on it. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's gonna have a 400-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating. That's gonna be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. And that's good for those 1 to 4 bike racks and the vast majority of cargo carriers out there, just to give you an example. And as far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 4,000 pounds. And that's the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. That will be the weight of your trailer, plus anything you might have in or on it. And with that said, I do always like to recommend, always a good idea just to grab your Volvo's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure that your SUV can handle that amount of weight safely. We'll grab a couple measurements now, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories will work best. We go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening. That's going to be about 14 inches. So if you plan on pulling a trailer, probably use a ball mount that has a rise in the shank. Probably that 2" range, maybe 4 would work well for a lot of scenarios. And if you're using an accessory, one that has a straight shank, you'd be fine. If it has a rise in it, even better. Buy a little more ground clearance back here. You go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper. That's going to be about 3 inches, which is pretty good. So you shouldn't really run into too many issues here, but if need be, you can use that to help figure out exactly if any of those folding accessories that you might have can be stored upright without hitting the back of your Volvo. Other than that, a good all-around hitch you really can't go wrong with. I think it looks good on the back of the Volvo, and it'll be up to the job and be able to handle just about anything that you want to throw at it. As far as the installation goes, believe it or not, these Volvos come apart really easy. You do have to remove the rear fascia, but everything's easy to get to. You only need some basic hand tools. Don't really let it intimidate you. If you got a good place to work on it, a little bit of time, and you're somewhat familiar doing mechanical things, I really don't see you having too many issues with this at all. With that said, if you don't feel like bothering with it, I totally understand that. You can always use our dealer locator to help you locate a shop that can do it for you. So that's always an option. But yeah, why don't we go ahead, we'll pull into the garage and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working underneath the back of our Volvo, and along this bottom edge here, we're going to have a total of 4 fasteners that we can remove. We're going to have 2 of these torque spit fasteners on each side of our vehicle, and from this point on, whatever we do to one side, we'll also do to the other side. These will be set the same way, but I got my T25 here. We'll get these pulled out. We can now move to our wheel well liners. And along this back edge here, there's going to be a total of 6 torque spit fasteners that run up along it, and those are a T25 as well. We'll just work our way up until we get all of them removed. Once you get that final one out, what you can do is grab the liner, kind of tuck that back out of the way. By pulling that liner out of the way, that'll expose another T25 fastener going up where your fascia and quarter panel meet. We'll take our bit, pull that one out too. While we are right here, what I've done is took some painter's tape, put it along the seams, and that's because we are going to be removing the fascia and working in this area. So I put this here, that way we don't accidentally scratch a paint or anything like that. If you open up your rear hatch, we can remove these bump stops. A lot of times, you can just grab them by hand and rotate them, but just one came out. If yours is really tight, you can always use some pliers like this and just carefully grab it and break it loose that way. At this point, if you can have someone help you out with this part, it makes it a lot more manageable, but we're going to get the fascia removed. So you want to start on the corner here and kind of just carefully start to work this off. Pull it back because we'll probably have some wiring we need to disconnect. And over here on the passenger side, we do indeed have a connector. Push down that tab. That'll release it. We're going to have the same exact setup over on the driver's side, so get that one disconnected as well. Once you get both of the connectors undone, we can set our fascia off to the side. We can get our bumper beam off now, and we're going to have 3 15mm head nuts to remove. And I got the other ones on the other side off already, so just make sure you're supporting the bumper beam before you pull the last one off. And we should be able to just slide this straight back from our Volvo. Something that is recommended to do is take some silicone and just apply it to the back of our vehicle here. That way it'll be sealed up and we don't have to worry about water getting into the frame there. So this is something you will have to pick up separately. We carry it, or go to your local auto parts store, pick up a tube there. Now we can grab our trailer hitch, place this on the back of our Volvo, and then we'll also take our bumper beam, put that back into position, make sure everything is centered and where we want it. We'll just take the factory hardware and reinstall it. Now you want to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. As far as getting the hitch secured and everything, that's it. you will need to put the fascia back on, and you may or may not need to trim. Out of all of these that I've done quite a few of them. To be honest, I don't remember ever having to trim. I could be wrong, but a lot of times there's already an opening cut out there on the fascia. So if yours is set up like this, just loosely hold it up in place, and it'll be pretty easy to tell if you need to remove some material or not. Like I said, chances are pretty good you're not going to have to, like our case. If you do need to trim out though, with the plastic, I found that a multi-tool or an oscillating type tool works really well. A pair of snips, Dremel tool, sometimes even, if you're careful, you can use a really sharp utility knife and make the cuts to get material removed. We'll go ahead and get this line back up. Get the electrical connectors plugged back in. And this is just going to snap back into place, and we'll re-secure it the opposite way that we removed it. I got the fascia all put back together. Everything went together just fine, no issues there. And now with that done, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver on our 2022 Volvo XC60.